Hello, friends. Have you ever considered moving to a different state to save money on taxes during retirement? I know I have. It sounds like the perfect plan, doesn't it? You've worked hard your entire life, saved diligently, and now you're finally ready to enjoy your golden years. The last thing you want is the government taking a bigger slice of your pie through taxes. So naturally, when you hear that some states have no income tax, it seems like the obvious choice. But what if I told you that this seemingly brilliant financial strategy might actually end up costing you significantly more money than you ever imagined? What if the move you thought would save you thousands of dollars annually could instead drain your retirement savings faster than you anticipated? This is exactly what we're going to explore together today, and trust me, the answer might surprise you. Before we dive deeper into this eye-opening analysis, I want to ask you something personal. Have you already made this move, or are you considering it? Are you feeling uncertain about whether this decision is truly the right one for your financial future? If so, you're not alone. Thousands of retirees face this same dilemma every single year, and many of them make decisions based on incomplete information. That's why I've prepared this comprehensive breakdown of the hidden costs and overlooked factors that could transform your tax-saving strategy into a financial burden. And here's the thing, I don't want you to make this mistake. So before you make any major life decisions about relocating, I encourage you to watch this entire analysis. At the end, I'll provide you with actionable insights that will help you make the most informed decision possible. But more than that, I want to build a community of people who are thinking critically about their retirement. So please subscribe to this channel right now. By subscribing, you'll get notified whenever I release new content about retirement planning, tax strategies, and financial decisions that could literally impact your future. Plus, you'll become a part of a growing community of people who refuse to accept conventional wisdom without questioning it. All right, let's get started. The allure of moving to a tax-free state is undeniably powerful. We live in a culture that celebrates financial optimization and clever money moves. If your neighbor mentions they're moving to Florida to escape state income taxes, it sounds sophisticated, smart, and shrewd. It's the kind of decision that gets shared over coffee and nodded at approvingly. But here's what most people don't talk about at those coffee meetings: the complete financial picture. The decision to relocate for tax purposes is a classic example of what I call penny-wise, pound-foolish thinking. You're so focused on saving money on one specific thing, state income taxes, that you're potentially overlooking dozens of other financial implications that could cost you far more in the long run. Let me start by painting you a realistic scenario. Imagine you're 65 years old, recently retired, and living in California. You have a comfortable retirement income of about $100,000 per year from various sources including Social Security, pension, and investment withdrawals. California's top marginal income tax rate is around 13%. So naturally, you look at that number and think, if I move to Texas, which has no state income tax, I could save $13,000 every year. $13,000. That's significant money. That's a dream vacation, a new car payment, or a comfortable cushion in your emergency fund. So you start seriously considering the move. But here's where the analysis typically stops, and where most people go wrong. They calculate the state income tax savings and immediately begin fantasizing about how they'll use that extra money. They don't dig deeper into the full cost of living equation. They don't examine property taxes in detail. They don't consider healthcare costs. They don't account for the expenses of actually moving, establishing new residency, selling a home at potentially the wrong time in the market, and buying a new one in an unfamiliar location. And most critically, they don't think about what they're actually leaving behind. Property taxes are often the first hidden cost that retirees overlook. Yes, Texas has no state income tax, but Texas also has property taxes. In fact, Texas property tax rates are among the highest in the nation, averaging around 1.8% of home value annually. Now compare that to California, where property taxes are capped at 1% of home value due to Proposition 13. So let's do the actual math with real numbers. If you sell a $500,000 home in California and buy an equivalent $500,000 home in Texas, you're looking at $5,000 per year in California property taxes versus $9,000 per year in Texas. That's $4,000 more per year in Texas, which already eats into a significant portion of your $13,000 income tax savings. Suddenly, your saving isn't $13,000. It's actually only $9,000. But we're not done yet. Let's talk about healthcare, something that becomes increasingly important as you move through retirement. Many states offer tax breaks on retirement income, but they vary dramatically in their treatment of healthcare costs. Some states have higher healthcare costs than others, and more importantly, some states provide better support for seniors and retirees in terms of healthcare accessibility and affordability. Moving away from an established healthcare network where your doctors know your history and your medical needs are well understood can introduce inefficiencies and cost increases. You might end up paying more for the same quality of care simply because you're starting from scratch in a new healthcare system. Then there's the cost of actually moving itself, which people severely underestimate. A full household relocation for a retiree isn't cheap. Moving companies typically charge between $5,000 and $10,000 for a long-distance move. But beyond the movers, there's the cost of selling your current home, which involves realtor commissions, often around 6% of the sale price. On a $500,000 home, that's $30,000 right there. Then you have inspection costs, title transfer costs, and potential repairs needed to sell the home. On the buying end, you have closing costs on the new property, which typically run 2 to 5% of the purchase price. That's another $10,000 to $25,000. Real estate attorneys, title insurance, and transfer taxes add more to the bill. We're talking about $50,000 to $70,000 in total transaction costs. These aren't annual costs. They happen once, up front. But they're real money that comes directly out of your retirement nest egg. Now, let's talk about something more emotional and personal, because this isn't just about numbers. When you've lived in a place for decades, you've built a life there. You have friends, relationships, and community connections. You know where to shop, where to eat, and where to spend time. This social and emotional capital has genuine financial value that doesn't appear on any spreadsheet. When you move to a new state, you're essentially starting your social network from zero. Studies have shown that isolation and loneliness in retirement can actually lead to increased healthcare costs and reduced longevity. The emotional toll of uprooting yourself from an established community isn't just about feeling sad. It can actually cost you money in medical bills and reduced quality of life. There's also the issue of your home itself. If you've been in your current home for many years, you likely paid far less for it than what it's worth today, thanks to California's property tax cap. That, Proposition 13, protection means your property tax burden grows very slowly. But in Texas, every time property values rise, your tax obligations rise with them. What seems like a better deal now might become a worse deal as property values appreciate over the next 10, 15, or 20 years of your retirement. Let's also consider the financial position you had before the move. Many retirees have primary residences that have appreciated significantly over decades. In California, you can exclude up to $250,000 in capital gains from the sale of a primary residence if you're single, or $500,000 if you're married. These are federal exclusions that apply regardless of which state you live in. However, the emotional burden of selling a home you've owned for 30 years and starting fresh is substantial. Some retirees find they actually don't want to move once they really sit with the decision, but they feel trapped by the tax savings narrative they've already committed to. Another hidden factor is the impact on your Social Security and Medicare. While your state of residence doesn't directly affect your Social Security or Medicare benefits, it does affect your overall tax picture. Some states tax Social Security benefits, while others don't. New Mexico, for example, provides generous exemptions on retirement income, including Social Security, that California doesn't. But if you move to Arizona or another state without these protections, you might find that your Social Security is taxable after all, erasing some of your perceived tax savings. We also need to discuss inflation and cost of living changes. While you might move to a location with lower taxes today, there's no guarantee that remains true 10 years from now. Texas has no income tax now, but state legislatures can change. Moreover, cost of living changes happen rapidly. A state that seems affordable today might become significantly more expensive as people move there and property values rise. Retirees who moved to Florida 20 years ago often find themselves shocked by how expensive it's become. Furthermore, there's the issue of your investment returns and portfolio positioning. When you sell a home and move, you're likely triggering significant capital gains in real estate. You're also disrupting your investment strategy at a critical life stage. The money involved in a move, $50,000, $70,000, or even $100,000 in real estate transaction costs, could have been invested and grown significantly over your remaining retirement years. That's money that's gone, transferred to real estate agents, attorneys, and the government, never to compound in your portfolio. One more crucial element. Many people moving for tax reasons fail to establish true residency in the new state, which can create problems. Some states have residency requirements and audits designed to catch people who claim residency without actually establishing it. If you maintain strong connections to your former state, perhaps you still have family there, you visit frequently, or you maintain a vacation home, you might face legal challenges to your claimed residency, resulting in back taxes, penalties, and interest. So what's the real answer? Should you never move for tax purposes? Not necessarily, but you should approach it with clear eyes and complete financial analysis. The move only makes sense if the total financial benefits, after accounting for all costs including the emotional and social costs, genuinely exceed the total financial costs. For many retirees, especially those deeply rooted in their communities, the answer is no. The costs outweigh the benefits. Friends, before you make any major life decisions about your retirement, please take time to analyze the complete picture. Talk to a tax professional, a real estate advisor, and most importantly, talk to yourself about what kind of life you actually want to live in retirement. Is it really about saving taxes, or is it about something deeper? If you found this analysis valuable, please subscribe to this channel for more honest conversations about retirement planning and financial decisions that matter. Thank you for watching.